2001, Microsoft, a software company that had made its fortune selling Windows and Office to accountants, decided that it was going to go to war against Sony and Nintendo in gaming, an industry where Microsoft had zero credibility, zero existing audience, and zero experience building consumer hardware. They were entering a two-player market dominated by the PlayStation 2, the best-selling console of all time, and the Nintendo, which had been in gaming since before most Microsoft engineers were born. The gaming press laughed, Sony smirked, Nintendo shrugged. $4 billion in losses later, Microsoft owned the living room. Sometimes the most expensive victories are the most important one. So let's talk through it. Hello, I'm Todd Hagopian, the original Stagnation Assassin. Today we're opening the vault on Microsoft's 2001 entry into console gaming with the Xbox. The $4 billion gamble that redefined an entire industry. And we're going to see if it was a strategic slaughter or a stagnation suicide. This is what happens when a software giant decides to bring a bazooka to a console fight. The stagnation score, pre-Xbox stagnation score for Microsoft is 6 out of 10 for corporate cancer. Microsoft in 2001 was dominant in software, but strategically terrified, and they should have been. The computing world was shifting from desktop to living room. Sony's PlayStation 2 wasn't just a gaming console. It was a Trojan horse, a computer in every living room that wasn't running Windows. If Sony or anyone else became the platform of the living room, Microsoft's desktop monopoly could have become irrelevant overnight. The stagnation wasn't in Microsoft's financials. They were printing money. The stagnation was strategic. They were a one-platform company in a multi-platform world. And the next platform war was being fought in a market that they didn't even compete in. So let's look at the tactical audit. Microsoft's Xbox strategy is a textbook case of grandiose goal setting combined with the Karelin method. The grandiose goal, Microsoft didn't say, let's make a gaming console. They said, we will own the living room. That's not a product launch. That's a declaration of war on an established duopoly. The ambition wasn't to be third place. It was to become the default entertainment platform in every home on Earth. The Karelin method Microsoft entered with relentless, unconventional force. They didn't just try to out Nintendo, or out Sony. They brought PC-level hardware to a console market accustomed to weaker processors. They built a console with an actual hard drive, unheard of at the time. They connected it to the internet with Xbox Live, creating the first serious online console gaming platform, while Sony and Nintendo were still shipping offline. The 70% rule was critical here. The original Xbox was not a polished product. It was enormous. The controller was mocked as a dinner plate. The game library at launch was very thin. But Microsoft shipped it. They got it on the shelves. They started building the ecosystem. While perfectionists would have waited another 2 years, Microsoft understood that presence in the market, even imperfect presence, is worth more than perfect absence. And the 80-20 matrix, Microsoft identified one game as the vital 20% that would drive adoption: Halo. They didn't launch with 50 mediocre titles. They launched with one killer app, and they built the entire marketing campaign around it. Halo Combat Evolved didn't just sell Xboxes. It legitimized the Xbox as a serious gaming platform overnight. One game changed everything. But let's look at the hindsight homicide. Microsoft's hindsight homicide, they lost $4 billion on the first Xbox generation. $4 billion. And the second generation, the Xbox 360, was plagued by the red ring of death hardware failure, which cost an additional $1 billion in warranty extensions and brand damage. The fatal flaw was what I call conquest without discipline. Microsoft was so focused on entering the market that they neglected unit economics and hardware reliability. They subsidized every console at a massive loss and assumed software margins would cover it. For a company built on the highest margin software in history, they showed a stunning disregard for profitability in gaming that persisted for nearly a decade. Microsoft should have demanded stabilization of unit economics before scaling to hundreds of millions of units. Microsoft skipped stabilize, rushed through standardize, and then scaled a money-losing machine. Now, they could afford it because they were Microsoft. Most companies can't. So the verdict, I'm going to give Microsoft Xbox 3.5 out of 5 kills. The strategic vision was legendary, identifying the living room as the next platform battleground, entering with overwhelming force, creating Xbox Live, and launching with Halo. That's a masterclass in market entry, grandiose goal setting, and the Karelin method at full power. But $4 billion in losses and a hardware reliability catastrophe are not the marks of a stagnation assassin. They're the marks of a wealthy brawler who can afford to take a bunch of punches before they win. Xbox survived because of Microsoft's balance sheet, not because of operational excellence. And the stagnation assassin doesn't give full marks for strategies that only work if you're already worth $300 billion. So that's the autopsy. Microsoft proves that sometimes you need to lose a fortune in order to win a market. But the stagnation assassin prefers to win without the fortune losing part first. Head to toddhagopian.com to learn more about the HOT system. Grab the Unfair Advantage on Amazon. And make sure you visit the stagnationassassins.com for the world's largest stagnation database. And remember to declare war on stagnation every single day and every single week here with us.